Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this is the AWS Zero to Master series, and in this playlist we are focusing on the AWS cloud and services. So coming to the today's session, we are going to be see about what is the region and what is the availability zone on the AWS perspective, and like along with that we will see what is the placement group and how we can configure the placement group on the AWS. So let us begin. So basically, if you log into the AWS console, you can see that multiple region. Might be you guys are wondering, why they are providing that multiple region and which region we need to be used. So, the region means nothing but basically AWS hosted the resources in the multiple location. Resource means nothing but servers and storage devices and networking devices. Those devices located in that multiple location, they have been hosted in that multiple location data center. So those location called region. So basically, those regions separated in the geographical area for the highly available. So if you can see on the AWS documentation, they are providing like US and Asia. These all are the category. Under the each category, we can get it that different region. For example, I have been taken that one of the region called the AP South one. Yeah, this is under the Asia. So basically, the AP South one is the one of the region hosted in that India. So when we are choosing the region, while we are creating that resources, we should be choose the nearby region only, so that only we can get it that we can access our resources and we can access our application in a low latency. Maybe if you are in India and if you are, in case if you are going to be deploy your resources on the US or somewhere, sometimes it would be when you're accessing the application or server, there will be some latency you can get it. So that's the reason always AWS recommending to choose the nearby region to access our application or server or AWS services in a short latency. So that's all about that region. So another one of the concept we need to be know about that availability zone. So basically, availability zone means nothing but, as I mentioned, each region, they have been hosted the data center. So basically, each region, AWS maintaining the different place, they have been hosted their data center. So those location called availability zone. Basically, AWS maintaining that minimum three availability zone for each region. So those availability zone will be hosted maximum that 100 kilometer of the distance, so that only in case if anything occur on that particular one of the availability zone, still we can access our workloads in that another availability zone. So that is the reason each regions they have been hosted the different availability zone. Those availability zone also located in the different um, different locations. So basically, those availability zone will be interconnect with that all the regions, so that we can connect our resources, so that the redundant of the power and networking, it will be very fast. That will be connected in the interconnect. So I have been taken that some of the availability zone in that under the AP South only. So if you can see under the South one A, South one, you can see that AP South one A, South one B, South one C. These all are the availability zone. Basically, we can tell us the data center. Each data center they have a separate hardware resources. So I have been taken that this image on the AWS console. You can see the worldwide they are maintaining that multiple region. Each region they are maintaining that some multiple availability zone for the redundancy purpose. I'll just quickly walk you through on that AWS console so that you can get it more idea on that. So this is providing by AWS for the global infrastructure. What they are maintaining. So as I mentioned, they are providing that multiple category. Each category they are providing that. Different regions, and each regions we can get it that different availability zone. If I can click on the Asia, you can see they are maintaining that in the Hyderabad, and they are maintaining that to Mumbai, and apart from that they are Hong Kong and Ninjixia. So these all are that regions. So if I can see that Hyderabad, that has been launched on the 2022, and there are three availability zone is there. So those three availability zone will be located on that nearby of the region, but not in the same place. So that only if anything happen on that zone one, still we can access the other servers. So like you can see in the bottom, you can see all the region when they have been launched, how many availability zones are there. So based on that, we can choose our best region and we can start at using based on that. So I'll just paste this link on this comment so that you can get it if you need to be know more about that region. So coming to the today topics, like these all are about that region and availability zone. If you require more details about that region and availability zone, just feel free to leave a comment so that I'll just take you up in that upcoming session. So now you know about that availability zone and region. So when we are creating that EC2 instance, you are wondering how we can place our EC2 instance in the different availability zone, if it is a critical or a highly critical workload, how I can like maintain those workload in the highly available manner. So basically on the EC2 level, they are providing that three options to place our EC2 instance in the highly available. So first one is called the cluster, and second one is called spread, and the third one is called partition. So we will see one by one in that today's session. So basically like cluster means nothing but if you can see on this image, yeah, if you are going to be create a six type of EC2 instance, those six EC2 instance, whenever you are attaching the instance into the cluster type of placement group, all the six instance will be placed into the single rack. That means the single hardware within the single availability zone. So that what will happen, like whenever like we are deploying that instance, if procured all the instance any kind of should be accessed with low latency, we can go with a cluster so that EC2 instance can get that low latency access with each other. So basically, those rack will be placed on that single hardware with the same yield. So in case like as I mentioned, if you record any low kind of latency between that EC2 instance, it will be like helpful for the workloads. But there are some limitation is there when we are creating the cluster. So this will be support some kind of instance only, not for all. And apart from that, it will not support for the multi-AZ. Within a single AZ only, we can create the cluster type of a placement group. So apart from that, when we are creating the cluster type of placement group, it will be like should be a same instance type that is recommended by AWS. We can create a multiple, but the single type of EC2 instance type only the recommended be. And another one of the important drawback we need to know whenever we are creating the cluster with cluster type of placement group, if anything happen on the same particular racks, all the EC2 instance will not be accessible. So if it is a highly critical instance, if you are going to be deployed on the cluster, so the whenever the rack will be rack getting on filed or anything happen, those critical workload will not be accessible. So be sure about that. So another one of the placement group called spread. So spread means nothing but when we are creating the instance, those instance placed in the different hardware within a group. Like for example, here in the image you can see there are three instances I am creating with the spread placement group. Each three instance, what will happen? It will be placed in the separate servers. Rack means the server. So easy to first one will be placed on the rack one, and easy to second only second the instance will be placed on rack 2, and the third one will be placed on the rack 3. So that what will happen whenever any one of the rack getting filed, still we can access another two instance without any interruption. So that is the reason they are providing that spread. So another one of the things we need to know, we can like spread our instance across the multiple EAZ, so that like if any one of the availability zone level like file is, still we can access our resources in the another availability zone. But the limitation is maximum 7 instance only we can place it in that per EAZ. So be sure about that. If you are like going to be deploy that instance more than 7 within a EAZ, it will not help. And second one, sorry, third one, we can get it the partition from the AWS side. So partition means nothing but it will be like a create a partition in the each availability zone. So each partition that will be placed on the different hardware. Like for example, if I'm going to be create a if I'm going to create a six EC2 instance, so six EC2 instance will be placed in the different hardware with a different partition. So, each partition, as I mentioned, will not share the resources with others. So, if you can see, EC2 first one will be within the availability zone, but it has been running on the hardware one, and EC2 instance, another one is running on the same availability zone, but that will be running on the hardware two. So the same way it will be run it on the different EAC with the different partition so that we can get it that highly available. If any one of the hardware is getting fine, still we can access the resources in the same availability zone along with that other availability zone also. So the another one of the advantage we can get it, we can have a multiple partition in the multiple availability zone in the same region, not a different region. So each partition we can, sorry, each availability zone we can create a seven partition. So each partition there is no limit. We can create the ACT instance based on the AWS limit. So these all are about that AWS placement group. So now we will see how we can create the placement group on that AWS and how we can attach that placement group. So I'll just quickly switch into that console. I'm just switching into that Mumbai region for now. So basically, when we are launching the instance, we can select the placement group and we can create the placement group under the advanced tab. If you can see, I'm in that launching instance configurations. If you click on that advanced, you can see just a minute. In the advanced configuration, we can see the availability zone. Yeah, here you can see that is called a placement group. I just type a mistake in the search. So here you can select or you can create when you are creating that instance. So another one way what we can do, we can create that placement group on the network and security under the placement group. So already I have a three. I'm just deleting first. So basically, if you need to be create a placement group, just click on the create placement group, and here I'm going to be first to create the cluster type placement group. So that the strategy will be there are three strategies are there. So first one, the cluster. So cluster means it will be share the same hardware in the same AZ. So I'm just to place the create the security group, and another one I'm just going to be create as the spread. Spread this time the strategy will be the spread and the spread lag level is that rack. So another that host is that one of the things I'll just explain you on that upcoming session. Another one partition and choose the strategy as a partition. So as I mentioned, we can create the seven partition per AZ. So if you can click on the four partition, four partition will be placed into that single AC. So whenever you are creating that instance, the those instance will be placed into that one of the partition. So I just saved on that. So now what I'm going to do, we can check it where we can change it. So first I'll just launch the instance without partition. Instance one and that remaining the same. I'm going to select the Linux key. So apart from that, the security group. So if you need to know about that, the how we can deploy the EC2 instance, I have been uploaded the video on the earlier session. Maybe you can check it out. I'll just paste the command on the group. So now I'm going to be deploy the EC2 instance without placement group. So what will happen? It will be deploy that instance without placement group. Then we will see how we can change the placement group after the cluster deployment, after the instance deployment. So if you can see that here, I can see I'm not selecting anything. So just click on the launch. So once launch the instance, basically we can place the instance in the placement group after the launching. We should be power up the instance, otherwise like it will not work. So that's the reason I just start the instance so that you can come to know how we can change in the live environment. So yeah, now it's up and running. So just click on that instance, and if you can go to the action and instance setting, there is one option called modify instance placement. So based on the basically when we are the mission is running, we can use those options. So first we need to be power off. I'm going to be stop the instance. So mission getting stopped. Yeah, now mission has been stopped. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be just try to change. So here you can see now the placement group has been enabled. So just to click on the modify placement group and just to click on the placement group, whatever you want. Basically, based on the creation, it will be we can select it the placement group, it will be placed. So basically, I don't have any valid plan to create this EC2 in the placement group. So this is a way we can create and we can attach. Whenever we are attaching, this mission will be spread into that based on the placement group and we can get it. So that's all about the today's session. So maybe if you require more details about that placement groups and availability zone and availability set, just feel free to leave a comment. I'll just take it up in the upcoming session. So once again, thanks for watching my channel, and we'll see you in that upcoming session.